Hello everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to your October 2025 monthly forecast. So this is just like the beginning of the tape. Your forecast is after this tape. Okay, those of you who are new to my channel. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, and click on the notification bell. You'll be notified each time I upload something. Also, there is information in the description box below. There's a link to something called Ask Me a Question, which is for those of you who only want to know maybe one or two things about your chart. There's also a link to my website, and you can also just email me and ask me whatever it is you would like to know at zanezodiac@gmail.com. Okay? So, and a special thank you to all my subscribers, okay? Thank you for commenting and sharing and liking and your donations. Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate everything you guys do for me. Okay, and also everyone, remember that the weekly forecasts are now daily shorts, and there aren't always aspects between the planets every single day. Okay, so there won't be a video every day. So anyways, hey, special shout out, happy birthday to Libra and Scorpio. So, let's see here. The month starts off with Mercury moving into Scorpio on the 6th, and there's also a full moon on the 6th in Aries. On the 13th, Venus moves into Libra, also on the 13th. Pluto in Aquarius turns direct. On the 21st, there's a new moon in Libra. And on the 22nd, Mercury, that is still in Aries in retrograde motion, falls back finally into Pisces and finishes out its transit in Pisces, and then moves into Aries fully at the beginning of next year. Okay. So then also on the 22nd, the sun moves into Scorpio, and on the 29th, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. So now for your forecast. Hi, Sagittarius. So, you know what? Up until the 13th, you still have Venus in Virgo in your 10th house. Okay, your most public house. If you've seen some of my past videos, you'll remember that I always say when Venus is in your own sign, your first house or your 10th house, to milk it for all you can, okay? So it's still here up until the 13th. People find you far more appealing at this time, possibly, than any other time. They're commenting on your appearance normally. Okay, they may say something about your personality or whatever, but usually it's about your physical beauty or handsomeness or whatever. Okay, so also here, you get along, let's say, with your superiors if you work for someone else. If you're self-employed, with your clients, you can rub elbows with higher ups or people in prestigious kind of positions, and you're holding your own. You're more or less on their level, and you're all one big happy family, right? So anyways, you may even have some kind of position that is in like the beauty field, cosmetics, fragrance, fashion, something or other. So this just enhances that even more. So don't be surprised if you are approached for like some kind of job regarding those fields. Okay. And the Venus does move into Libra on the 13th till the end of the month, and the sun is here up until the 22nd. Okay. And then there's a new moon in Libra on the 21st. Okay. So your 11th house is where you have the sign of Libra, 11th house being your most sociable house. Okay, this is where your friends and acquaintances are, right? This is where you would normally go to hang out. Any kind of group or organization that you belong to, and also the house of dreams, hopes, and wishes. So this is also like socializing in person or online. So if you don't go out much, you may still just find yourself online an awful lot more than you usually are. Mercury is still here up until the 6th, okay, in Libra, and then it will move into Scorpio. So since last month, you may have been socializing more, even if it's just on the phone, you know, talking to friends you haven't talked to for a while. But usually when the sun is here, you feel like getting out in person and either seeing your friends or attending some kind of, you know, live event, or, you know, even if it's just to go see a movie or do something, you do feel like maybe even just going for drinks with a friend, or meeting someone for lunch, or, you know, whatever. Okay, and you may actually, you know, when Venus moves here, there could be a lot more invitations to attend something or other. There could be at least one new person possibly moving in to your group of friends, or someone that you possibly meet when you're out somewhere. You know, Venus here makes socializing very, very easy at this time, so you're approachable. And especially around that new moon of the 21st, you could meet somebody new. It doesn't always have to be romantic. Could just be a new friend that you make that you have similar interest, a lot of things in common, stuff like that. And also around this new moon, though, this is the house of dreams, hopes, and wishes. So I will have to say, you know, because you are the gamblers of the Zodiac, so I always tell you to play the lottery. So you more than likely do some form of gambling anyways. Just make sure you do it around that new moon, few days before, after, and during. Okay, same thing with this full moon. There's a full moon in Aries on the 6th. In your 5th house, it's directly across from your 11th house, and your 5th house is actually the house of gambling and speculation. You don't have to just gamble, you know, to win money. You could even speculate on yourself, or a risk of some kind that maybe you might take in a creative project. The 5th house being the house of fun and romance, creativity, gambling and speculation, any form of entertainment, game or sport, and anything to do with children. So, you know, Neptune is here. It's just been here a short period of time in Aries. It will be moving into Aries fully at the beginning of next year, but for now it is retrograde, and on the 22nd it falls back into Pisces, into your 4th house, okay? So around that full moon, though, I do have to point out that, you know, full moons do exist to bring problems to the surface so they can be dealt with and done away with. And the only thing that I could think of is, you know, I really don't see anything real earth-shattering here happening around this full moon. You know, you could just feel, you know, especially with Neptune leaving this area. Neptune in this area does, in the 5th house, will make your artistic or creative eye on anything, even if you're a writer, a painter, photographer, actor, singer, something or other. It will really enhance that in a lot of ways. And now that it is moving away, you may find that, I don't know, like you lost something, you lost your edge, or you were onto something, and now maybe it's gone, but it isn't gone, actually. You were inspired, okay, and you're still inspired, even with this planet not being here until, again, next year. There's still something that you've started, possibly creatively, or even a romance of some kind, or something, some form of entertainment, something fun that may be a little bit different than what you're used to. But anyway, so when Saturn moves back, Neptune moves back into Pisces. Saturn has already done that, okay, last month moved back into Pisces. So you've got Neptune and Saturn in Pisces in your 4th house again. This transit's been around for the past few years, and they'll both be leaving at the beginning of next year, so you won't have to ever deal with this here again. Okay, the 4th house being your personal life, your past, how you were raised, your childhood, where you live, your family, You know, there could have been all kinds of problems here, like with things breaking down within the home. Could even be communications among family members or somebody coming from your past that you really didn't want around. They belong in your past, but they keep trying to come back. Okay, hopefully that will also end. And any kind of problems you were having, let's say like with anything related to water, like your pipes, your water heater, your sprinkler system, I don't know, something, you know, if you had any problems like that, that should go away also. Okay, so you won't really have too many things to deal with when it comes to like your personal life and your family and where you live. You know, you may have been worried about your home. Maybe there's something with the property or even the neighborhood. You know, maybe you've even been thinking about moving. So when planets aren't in a house, okay, even as far as natal chart goes also, and transit, okay, when that house is empty, it takes care of itself. It just moves along as normally as you possibly can get it. Okay, so that's what will happen here. So anyway, let's see here. Yeah, Pluto turning direct on the 13th in your third house of your everyday life, your neighbors, your neighborhood, all forms of communication, including regular postal mail and local travel. This is the written word. It's also contracts, sometimes just verbal. This is an internet house. If you do have a website or some kind of online presence, you are eventually, I mean, this transit has just started, so it'll be here for a while, but you'll be influencing quite a lot of people, large groups of people. You could actually, even if you're not online, just simply write something that really affects people, you know, in some way or other. You know, it could be pretty profound, let's put it that way. Now that this planet is turning direct, though, you know, you may have had car problems. This is the house of travel, even local travel. You know, a lot of times there's construction and whatever going on in your area, or some reason or other that you have to go around to get to your home. That could even be to avoid a certain neighbor or a certain someone, or you don't want to have to drive past wherever it is to get to your home. Okay, you know, that kind of you probably, you know, when this planet retrograded, you were probably wondering about some of these things and just thought they're not all that important. And now that this planet has is turning direct, you probably won't worry about them again, which you should. Okay. So then, okay, the sun moves into Scorpio on the 22nd. Mercury's here from the 6th up until the 29th, and Mercury moves into your sign on the 29th. Okay, so it's only there the last few days of the month, so I'll go into it more in November. But you know, with Mercury in your first house, you become very talkative. You're on the sending and receiving end of a lot of communications, whether they're text message, voicemail, by phone or email or whatever. You could even be getting something like in the regular postal mail, even once like this, when Pluto turns direct on the 13th. Some of your mail, maybe that was held up or something possibly you've been waiting for, it might all start to show up. Okay, so let's see here. Anyway, yeah, just the Sun and Mercury and Mars. Mars is still in Scorpio, and this is all happening in your 12th house of behind the scenes activities by you or someone else. Okay, secrets and confidences, the house of the subconscious mind, dreams, the house of charity, the house of confinement, of any kind of confinement, within your own mind or even physically. This could be somebody that is confined to their home or a nursing home or even a prison. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's you. You may actually know someone like this, though. And I do have to mention, you know, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last month also, Mars in the 12th house brings about, whether it's in natal placement or in transit, there is someone within your group of friends that is envious and jealous of you, okay? And they are trying to undermine you. When Mars is transiting here is when it begins. At natal, it never moves, okay? So you have this problem on and off pretty much all your life, okay? But you're aware of it. After a while, as you get older, it just rolls off your back anyways. The person that is like this is... they have their own problems, okay? So don't worry about them too much. They can do all they want to undermine you or try to sabotage something that you're doing, but it never works, okay? But they just keep trying because they're that obsessed. There is someone obsessed with you, I do have to say that. Okay, so just keep that in mind with Mars being here, but also... when Mars is in the 12th house is when you make plans that are more than likely secret, you know. You may be planning with someone else, though, but this could just be something that, you know, is very dear to your heart, and that's the reason it's secret. It's not like a big deal if people find out about it, you know. And then there are plans that are very important and they need to be secret, you know, some kind of move possibly that you may be going to make. Mars moves into your sign after it leaves Scorpio, so there goes your jolt of energy to do whatever it is that you're planning. Okay, and with Mercury here, this is like behind the scenes communications, even secret communications between you and someone else, or someone's letting you in on something that is a secret. You know, I guess you would have to determine whether or not you should repeat it or not, you know, unless that person says, don't say anything. You know, a lot of times these so-called secrets aren't really all that secret, you know. It's almost like everybody knows about it, so what's the big deal? But keep that in mind, okay? And then with the sun here, though, that's your time to relax and recharge your batteries. You're preparing for when the sun moves into your sign, you know, at the end of November. So this is like at the end of October. You know, you start to kick back a little bit, but when Mercury enters your sign on the 29th, it does make your life a little bit more lively. Okay, when planets start to go in your first house, you really come to life. Okay, so the best time to do something each month is when the moon is in your own sign, and the moon is in Sagittarius on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. The best time to lay low is when the moon is in your opposite sign, and your opposite sign is Gemini, and those dates are the 10th and 11th. The best time for romance, recreation, creativity, fun, gambling or speculation, and anything to do with children is the 6th, 7th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. The best time for money is the 12th, 13th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. The best time for your career is the 16th, 17th, and 18th. And the best time for communication and travel is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 14th, 15th, and 16th. So I hope you enjoyed your forecast for October. Happy Halloween. See ya.